Millionaire CEO, stunned as a young black janitor's son saves the company. The lights flickered in the gleaming towers of Vantage Tech Solutions, where glass walls and cold steel screamed success and something darker. It was the kind of place where whispers slid through the hallways like ice underfoot, where every glance weighed heavy with tension. But in the heart of that sleek mess, Zahara's small frame, pressed against the doorway of the CEO's office, eyes wide, watching her father move like a ghost. Her dad, Malik, was supposed to be invisible, just the janitor who scrubbed floors and wiped crumbs from polished tables. But here he was, slipping silently through Elliot Trammell's lair, the ruthless billionaire with a glare sharp enough to cut through steel. Malik's hands worked fast, but careful, cleaning a desk that gleamed with the glow of multiple screens and blinking gadgets. Things Zahara dreamt about, but no one saw her for. A trickle of sweat slid down Malik's brow, but his face was different than all he expected. The company's future, shaky as a house built on sand. Tension clung tight to every voice she overheard beyond the walls. Bitter complaints and sharp mutters rolling down the corridors like thunderclaps. And then, someone dropped a name. Martin Liu. Jealous, cunning, a snake wrapped in a programmer's hoodie. Suspected of sabotage. Zahara clenched her fists, heart tight as a drum. She knew secrets like these. They whispered to her in lines of code. Hidden patterns only she could see. No one expected the 12-year-old janitor's daughter to know the company's heartbeat better than those suited up in boardrooms. But today, the air felt different. Electric. Dangerous. Zahara's fingers twitched with the urge to dive in, to fix what was broken. Her small world, made of quiet nights, hacking in the dim glow of a second-hand laptop, now hovered on the edge of discovery. Upstairs, Elliot Tram, the man with a steel jaw and cold stare, paced like a caged lion. His face, usually unreadable, twisted with disbelief the moment Zahara's name surfaced in a frantic meeting. "The janitor's daughter?" he hissed, voice low but sharp enough to cut the thick tension. Skepticism burned like acid in the room, but beneath it all, something stirred. Hope, tiny and flickering. Zahara's heart leapt and sank at once. Fear tangled with adrenaline. What if she failed? What if the board turned their backs on her, shunning the girl nobody noticed? But what if this was her moment, the only shot to steal light from shadows? The employees' murmurs rose, some mocking, some scared, others too stunned to speak. Malik's tired eyes found hers in the glass. He nodded, barely a whisper of encouragement. Zahara swallowed hard, mind racing faster than her breath. Outside, the storm of corporate ambition raged, and Zahara stood at the eye, caught between silence and chaos. Could she rise? Could she save everything teetering on the edge? Or would the dark, ruthless secrets of this world drag her under? The office door creaked open, and the real game was about to start. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And while you're there, drop a powerful like. It really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know each incredible person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The office door creaked open, and a heavy silence settled like dust over the room. Zahara stood at the threshold, heartbeat echoing in her ears like a distant drum. All eyes turned toward her, a blend of skepticism, curiosity, and disdain swirling in the air. "Zahara?" Elliot Tram's sharp voice sliced through the quiet. "You think you can help us solve our problems?" The tension was palpable, thick as the heavy carpets beneath her feet. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. It was like trying to scream underwater. Her thoughts bubbled and fizzled, drowning in the weight of their scrutiny. Just then, the fluorescent lights flickered ominously. The atmosphere shifted, a storm brewing just beneath the surface. Zahara stepped forward, her resolve hardening, eyes narrowed on Tram. "I can. I know the code better than anyone. I've seen the patterns, the mistakes." Boom! The power surged, plunging the room into darkness. Gasps erupted. The screens dimmed, then sputtered back to life, casting a ghostly glow. Shadows danced wildly along the walls. And panic rippled through the crowd. Zahara's breath quickened. What was happening? The emergency lights buzzed softly, illuminating the faces of her coworkers. Unease spread, and whispers filled the air. The kind of whispers that hinted at buried secrets. And then something emerged from the thumping chaos. A figure materialized from the shadows, slithering through the door behind Zahara. If the air in the room felt charged before, now it crackled. "Elliot," the figure shouted, "we have a problem." As the lights flickered back on, Zahara blinked in disbelief. It was Martin Liu, the very name that had haunted her thoughts. But there was something different about him. His face twisted with a mix of triumph and dread. What was going on? "Malik's here," Martin said, his voice low and urgent, eyes darting around the room. "We can't let him stay. It's not safe for him." Zahara's heart froze, confusion mingling with dread. "What do you mean, not safe?" Tram shot Martin a furious glare. "What are you talking about? You've been sabotaging us, and now you want to act like a hero?" "No," Martin snapped. "It's bigger than you think. Zahara's father is—" Suddenly, Malik appeared in the doorway, holding a trash bag, oblivious to the storm brewing in the office. "Zahara, sweetheart, it's time to go. Now." An icy wave washed over Zahara. "Dad, why? What's going on?" Malik's eyes darkened, the calm facade shattering. "I didn't want you to find out like this. There are things about my past, things I can't let you get caught up in." "What?" she demanded, her voice rising. "You know something. What is it?" The atmosphere shifted again, and a dread silence fell over the group. Martin stepped forward. "Zahara, your father is tied to—" "Enough!" Malik barked, his voice shaking the walls. "You don't know what you're playing with, Martin. This isn't just about code or sabotage. It's about survival." Outside, a heavy rain began to drum against the glass walls, drowning out the world. But inside, raw tension crackled like live wires. Zahara's mind raced. Her father, the janitor, the quiet man with secrets woven deep inside his past. What did this mean? "Everyone thinks they know something," Malik continued, voice low but fierce. "But no one here knows the truth. And now, they're coming for me." Zahara's world tilted. Fear and anger swirled within her, twisting and knotting. Betrayal? Danger? Nothing made sense. "Get out of here, Zahara," Malik urged, eyes filled with unspoken terror. "Run." "What?" But even as she protested, the room began to spin. Something colossal was unraveling in front of her. Something that could destroy everything she thought she knew. "Trust me." He stepped closer, desperation etched into his features. "You don't want to be part of this." Pulled between her father and her burgeoning vision of the future, the pieces of her reality shattered around her. The hidden truth threatened to engulf them all. And then, from the shadows, the door slammed open again, revealing an unexpected visitor. One who could alter the lethal game completely. The stark realization hit her. Everything was about to change. Would she follow her father's plea to flee? Or could she confront the truth and embrace the tempest ahead? A chill raced down her spine as she gripped the edge of a reality she never imagined possible. The game had only just begun. The door burst open, and a figure stepped into the charged atmosphere, casting a long shadow that consumed the room. Zahara's heart raced as she recognized the newcomer. Dr. Angela Reyes, the company's chief technology officer, a woman known for her fierce loyalty and intellect. But the way she stood there, breathless and trembling, sent an icy shiver down Zahara's spine. "Stop," Angela commanded, her voice slicing through the tension like a blade, eyes darting between Malik and Martin. "Everyone needs to hear this." Zahara felt the weight of the moment suffocate her, but Angela's urgency pressed into her mind like an electric pulse. "What is happening? You?" Zahara stammered, but Angela held up a hand, silencing her. "Zahara, this involves you. It involves your father." Angela took a step forward, her face pale, fear and anger warring in her gaze. "Your father is more than what he appears. He's not just a janitor." The blood drained from Zahara's face. "What are you talking about?" "Years ago, Malik was a lead developer at Vantage Tech," Angela confessed, her voice trembling with the gravity of the revelation. "He was one of the brightest minds in the field, until an incident that changed everything." Malik's expression hardened. "Angela, you shouldn't." "Shouldn't what?" She cut in sharply. "It's time the truth comes out. You vanished. You let everyone think you were dead. And for what? To protect your family? By hiding, you've only put them in more danger." Zahara's mind raced. Her father as a lead developer? A ghost from the past, manifesting in her present? What happened? Why did you disappear? Malik's dark eyes flickered with memories. There was an accident, a project gone wrong. I took the blame, but it was bigger than me. Corporate espionage, sabotage. But I still don't understand, Zahara protested, desperation clawing at her throat. What's this got to do with Martin? In his greed, he's been weaving a web of deceit. Angela's voice lowered to a whisper. And I suspect he's been working with someone on the inside. A silence fell over the room, the air thick with unspoken horror. Martin's computer screen flickered ominously, the words on it now seeming more darkly prophetic than before. "You don't know what you're saying," he shouted, but the veneer of confidence was cracking. "Yes, I do. I know the truths buried in this company. I know what you've been planning." Angela's outrage erupted like a volcanic force. "Deny it all you want, but this isn't just business, Martin. This is family, lives at stake. You've been feeding them false information to dismantle the very foundation Malik created." "This is absurd," Martin hissed. But Zahara caught the tremor in his voice. The intense energy shifted, interrogation rampant in every glance exchanged. "Why would you do this?" Zahara's voice wavered, layers of betrayal tearing at her insides. "We thought you were just a jealous coworker." Martin laughed, a hollow, hysterical sound that shattered the room. "Jealous? Please. Malik took everything from me when he left. I've spent years plotting the perfect downfall." The revelation struck Zahara like a thunderclap. "You. All this time?" "Enough!" Malik shouted, desperation coloring his words as he stepped between them. "This is bigger than your petty feuds. If they discover what I know, what I've kept hidden, everything we love is at risk." Zahara felt the ground shift beneath her feet, the fragmented pieces of her life spinning without anchor. "What do you mean, risky?" But before Malik could answer, the room trembled violently. Alarms blared, lights flickering wildly, shadows dancing chaotically among panicking employees. "No!" Malik yelled, eyes wide with terror as the walls seemed to close in. "They've come for me." Zahara's heart raced with betrayal and dread. One single truth became clear, unraveling everything she thought she knew. "Dad!" The doors slammed shut, sealing them inside with the rapidly thickening menace. In that moment, Zahara didn't just see her father's past. She felt it, crashing into her own with a roar, a storm of chaos surrounding them. The world outside, blurred, overlaid with darkness, and now the shadows began to creep closer. Would she stand with the man whose secrets could cost them everything? Or would she lose him to a power hungry for revenge? Time was running out, and the truth might be the deadliest of all. The room shook, panic seeping into every corner as the alarms wailed louder, piercing through the chaos like a knife. Zahara's world tilted on its axis. Shadows morphed into phantoms as Malik's desperate gaze darted around the room. He had always been her anchor, steady and unwavering, but now the ground beneath them seemed to crumble. "Malik!" Angela shouted, voice strained with urgency. She stepped closer to Zahara. desperation flickering in her eyes. "You have to tell her the truth before it's too late." "I'm trying to protect her." Malik's words crashed into the air, filled with a raw determination that seemed to vibrate in the charged atmosphere. "But this isn't just about me. There are things you don't understand." The room held its breath. Zahara felt the weight of their stares, some judging, some terrified. She wanted to scream, to shake the truth out of her father. But before she could respond, the lights flickered again, and then, for a heartbeat, everything plunged into darkness. "Zahara, listen to me." Malik's voice was barely a whisper in the void, vibrating with urgency. "You have to trust me. Whatever happens next." Suddenly, an explosion of light shattered the dark, blinding for a moment, and all they could see was chaos. The alarms shifted into a cacophony, a horrifying symphony that made her heart race. Shadows twisted and turned, morphing into foreboding figures as the door slammed open again, this time with an unexpected force. "Stop this now!" A commanding voice filled the room, startling everyone into silence. It was Naomi, the company's enigmatic head of security, flanked by heavily armed guards. Her presence felt cold, electric. "We have a breach." Before she could finish, a second cascade of shadow rushed in behind her, coiling and shifting like smoke. And then, from that darkness, a familiar face emerged, one Zahara had never expected to see. "Dad?" It came from her lips, in a disbelieving whisper. But it wasn't her father. There stood Marcus, Malik's estranged brother, the one who had vanished all those years ago, thought dead in a tragic accident. His expression was twisted between triumph and terror, eyes fierce with burning recognition. "Surprise, Zahara," he said, voice smooth like silk, but filled with a venomous edge. "I'm not dead, just waiting for the right moment." Malik's face paled, horror etched deep in his features. "Marcus, you shouldn't be here." "I had to come, brother," he sneered, stepping further into the light. "You brought this on yourself. You think hiding will protect your family. You drag them into your mess, while I painstakingly build something above the ashes of your betrayal." A chill of disbelief swept through Zahara, twisting her insides. This was the brother she never knew existed. This was the darkness Malik had fought to protect her from. "What do you mean?" She barely managed, the rhythm of her heartbeat rocking wildly. "They weren't just after him," Marcus continued, gesturing broadly as tension crackled like static in the air. "This whole operation, built on lies, it was a house of cards, and now the truth is leaking from every crack, threatening to drown you all." "What does that mean?" Angela stepped forward, vulnerability bleeding through her bravado, eyes darting like bees in a hive. "What do you plan to do?" Marcus's laughter echoed eerily. "Plan? Oh, I've been planning this for years. But it's not just about revenge for me. It's about who controls the future of Vantage Tech. And you, Zahara, you're the key I never thought I'd need." Zahara felt the world tilt again, the unbearable weight of revelation crashing over her like a wave. The family she thought she understood was riddled with betrayals and secrets. Her whole existence was built on a stability that had fractured long before she took her first breath. "What do you mean by that?" she gasped, feeling the fabric of her reality unravel. But Marcus merely smiled, a dark, knowing smile that twisted her stomach into knots. You'll soon find out. The game is just beginning. As the shadows closed around them once more, Zahara realized that every shield she had hidden behind was crumbling. She was now caught in a high-stakes battle, fueled by vengeance, loyalty, and a past that might finally destroy her future. Desperation clawed at her heart. Would she rally against the storm, unveiling the truth, or succumb to the dark secrets lurking around every corner? The fraying threads of her world trembled, and the stakes had never been higher. The air electrified with tension, a tangible, pulsing energy that racked around Zahara's heart, squeezing as Marcus's twisted smile lingered cruelly in the charged atmosphere. She thought she understood the stakes of this game, but now Naomi shouted, her voice booming. Panic surged, whispers escalating into chaos as everyone turned their attention to the gaping hole in the conference room wall. Bang! Another shot rang out, and the glass exploded outward. Zahara ducked instinctively, her heart racing as the metallic scent of fear mingled with the lingering aroma of stale coffee. "What in the hell?" she gasped, adrenaline flooding her veins. A figure, silhouetted against the storm-darkened sky, stepped forward through the debris. Rain fell like daggers, slicing through the remnants of glass and shattering the calm. The shadow moved with purpose, drawing closer, revealing a familiar face that sent Zahara reeling. "Mom?" The words slipped from her mouth, half-restrained surprise, erupting into disbelief. Her mother, the woman she thought had vanished years ago, stood tall in the doorway, soaked but fiercely grounding. "I knew he'd come," she declared, voice urgent and unwavering. The chaos fell into a vacuum, eyes locked, their past crashing into their present like a tidal wave. "What are you doing here?" Zahara breathed, shock mingling with confusion. You're alive?" "Not just alive," her mother interjected, shoving the damp hair from her face. "I'm involved. This is bigger than you think, Zahara. There's a reason I left, and now you're caught in the middle." Malik's expression twisted, a mixture of fury and sorrow washing over him. "You shouldn't have come back. Not now." His voice cracked, resonating with heartbreak that echoed painfully. "They'll come for you too." The tension choked the air, and for a moment, the conflict outside the room overshadowed the unfolding drama within. But then, amid the unfolding chaos, it clicked. A horrifying revelation that shattered the fragile stability of their small universe. "You knew all along," Zahara accused, the tremor in her voice a mix of hurt and rage. "You were part of it. You were part of the lies." "Listen to me," her mother pleaded, moving closer, rain-soaked clothes clinging to her frame like the secrets they held. "Your father and I made choices to protect you. All of us." "What choices?" Zahara spat, trapped in a cyclone of emotions. "What secrets?" The silence thickened until it was suffocating. And suddenly, Marcus stepped forward, a satisfied smirk on his face. "You wanted to know why they're after Vami," he taunted, relishing the wave of dread sweeping over the room. "It's not just Malik's past. It's your heritage, Zahara. You're not just a janitor's daughter. You're the key to their power. The link to everything they need to stay on top. Don't you see? Zahara's heart plummeted, emotions roiling within her. You're lying! Marcus laughed, a cold, sharp sound cutting through the air. Your mother has been the architect of this entire mess. She's not just a ghost from the past. She was a top operative. And the things she's done? No! Malik roared, anger igniting his every word. Don't listen to him! He's twisting the truth! Zahara's head spun, crushing weight of betrayal bearing down on her as the truth began to unfurl like a twisted ribbon, coiling tighter in a prison of lies. But before she could process what this meant, a loud crash sent a ripple of dread through them all. The room quaked as the lights dimmed, and the oppressive weight of hidden agendas merged into a potent cocktail of chaos. As realization dawned, the world around her sank deeper into shadows, relationships fracturing like glass, leaving her standing in the middle of a battle she didn't understand. The room held its breath, but her reality was shattering. What was left when everything she believed collapsed? They're here, a voice screamed from beyond the door. The stakes intensified as Zahara felt the walls close in. Everything she fought was solid, crumbling into dust. The game was no longer just about her father's past. It was a war for her very identity. And just like that, the door swung open beyond the crumbling remnants of normalcy, more revealing shadows ready to consume her. The storm of truth awaited, and Zahara needed to decide: align with the secrets she barely understood, or risk it all in a world where trust was a ghost and betrayal clawed at her every breath. The door swung wide, revealing a storm of chaos outside that swirled in sharp contrast to the tension clasping the room. Zahara's breath hitched as she flinched, a cacophony of sirens blending with the frantic energy spiraling around her. The figures pouring through the gap were a blur, shadows thrown into stark relief by the flashing lights outside. It felt like the world was spinning out of control, an endless, get everyone to safety. But the moment that command slipped past his lips, something about Marcus shifted, a predatory glint igniting in his eyes. I wouldn't move if I were you, Marcus said, the smirk on his face widening. You're all so wrapped up in your little drama, but you're missing the bigger picture. Zahara's heart raced as the shadows shifted again, morphing into figures garbed in tactical gear. A team of intruders, agents of chaos invading their sanctuary. Panic bloomed, thick and heavy, suffocating her as she pulled her mother closer. Mom, she cried, the weight of the moment crashing down upon her. What did you do? But the answer, that crumbling certainty, was lost in a tremor of disbelief and confusion. The situation escalated, the room vibrating, until someone shouted, "Get down!" The world shattered. A deafening blast rumbled through the walls, flames licking through the smoldering hole that had just speared the conference room. Zahara's heart exploded in her chest as heat engulfed her, the acrid scent of smoke filling her lungs. everything blurred in the hyper-real chaos. Screams, running footsteps, and frantic calls of her father's name echoing in a maelstrom of confusion. A thick cloud of smoke billowed through the air, tainting the desperate scene. But Zahara's eyes stayed glued to her mother. "Mom!" she rasped as the room twisted in chaos. One moment they were face to face, the next she was engulfed in the tumult, distanced by encroaching shadows and fear. Then it happened, a jarring moment. There, amid the fleeing crowd, a glint caught Zahara's eye. Her mother, a flicker of movement behind the shadows, far too calm for the chaos around her. "Zahara?" Her voice floated like a lifeline, but it didn't feel right. Then it came out, a jarring announcement slicing through the wreckage. "She's not who you think she is." Everyone froze. The air slowed. Zahara's breath caught painfully in her throat. Malik stepped forward, a desperate look painted across his features. "What did you just say?" His gaze, swirling with confusion and anguish, bore down on Marcus, who stood watching like a hawk, satisfied and poised. "She's been playing both sides," Marcus said, the satisfaction in his tone, a venomous brew. "Your dear wife was never just a mother. She's been undercover, feeding intel to whoever promises her the most." Zahara couldn't breathe. The world around her dimmed like a fading star. Puffs of smoke swirling in shadows yet to reveal the truth. "Mom?" The word fell quietly from her lips, vulnerability stripping her of strength. "Zahara, please." Her mother's voice trembled, laced with something she hadn't heard before, a twisted plea, a confession. The room that had once felt like her refuge now dripped with betrayal. "I had to protect you." "Protect me?" Zahara echoed, horror twisting in her gut. "You've been lying to me?" Malik's face paled, shock overwhelming him as he stepped back, his reality crumbling beneath the weight of Simon's accusation. "No, that can't be true. You wouldn't." But the fury in Marcus's eyes glimmered with truth. "It is. This isn't just about the family drama you thought you had all sorted out. It's a power struggle, a legacy far bigger than you could ever imagine. Your mother holds the key to everything." "Why?" Zahara could barely manage the breath. All that was left was raw vulnerability, a shred of her world tilting. "Why now?" "Because," her mother whispered, voice choked as the fire behind her flickered. "It's time to end the lies." The words reverberated in her mind. The room erupted in noise as realization set in. Her family was a tangled web of deception. And just when it seemed the flames of certainty would consume them whole, the darkest truth unveiled itself, once and for all. Zahara was more than she knew, destined to become a player in a game even she didn't sign up for. "Join me," Marcus said, menace curling around his words. "Or watch it crumble." As the walls shook around her, the vast field of betrayal and truth unraveled before Zahara. A chilling question echoed amid the chaos. How far would she go to reclaim her reality? The stakes had never been higher. The air thickened, each heartbeat resonating with the weight of Marcus's words. Zahara felt the gravitational pull of betrayal wrap around her, suffocating the hope she clung to. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The frantic chaos of the room blurred at the edges as she stared at her mother. Your mother holds the key to everything. The smirk on Marcus's lips twisted like a knife, and Zahara's mind raced to untangle the threads of truth. "No!" Malik shouted, shaking his head in disbelief. Desperation etched in every line of his face. "You can't do this, Marcus. You're just trying to twist her against us." The air crackled, a tension so sharp it felt like glass. But before Marcus could respond, another wave of chaos erupted. A group of well-armed agents stormed the room, their weapons drawn, ready to take control. The shadows thrummed with an urgency that twisted the gut, making Zahara's heart pound louder. "Secure the perimeter. Find Malik," one of the agents barked, urgency cloaked in authority as they moved with precision. "Run!" Malik yelled, his voice a mix of adrenaline and terror, but it didn't reach Zahara. Her eyes were glued to her mother, who looked shattered, raw emotions swirling beneath her surface. But before Zahara could process anything, a sharp click echoed, the sound of a safety being disengaged. All eyes snapped toward Marcus, whose expression had morphed from smug satisfaction to a grave stillness, as if contemplating the precipice of a dark decision. "Why did you come back?" Zahara demanded, her voice trembling. "What have you done?" Marcus stepped forward, shadows cascading around him. "She came back not just for a reunion, but to finish what she started. She's the perfect double agent. Right, Laura?" A damning silence. Everyone froze, jaws agape. Zahara felt her pulse quicken, a tidal wave of confusion and horror crashing into her mind. "What do you mean?" Her mother's eyes flickered, guilt etched into her features. "Zahara, What?" The words fell away like leaves stripped from a tree. The agents' faces shifted from concern to realization, the implications sinking deep. "You are part of this," one of them whispered, shock washing over his expression. "We had intel about your interactions with the rival tech firms. You've been feeding them." "I did it to protect you." Laura's voice came out in a rush, but the damning truth surged forward unhindered. "They threatened to destroy everything we built, Zahara. The only way to keep you safe was to be involved." The air turned electric, like a live wire begging to spark. "To be involved with them?" Zahara's voice cracked, reality fracturing all around her. She turned to her father, searching his eyes for clarity, for truth. But his expression was one of dread, his dark eyes swimming with pain and disbelief. "No, it can't be true. I know you used to work for them, but this—" Malik faltered, the depth of betrayal piercing the silence. "Did you ever love me?" "I did, but you don't understand," Laura pleaded, the tremor in her voice unraveling like a spool of thread. "The company is full of secrets, corrupt to its core. I thought I could infiltrate it, gather intel, bring them down from the inside, but they found out." Zahara's heart drummed erratically as the crowd around them whispered, fragments of panic and realization swirling like a tornado. The scenery spiraled into chaos, her mother's hidden life crashing down, exposing a web woven into the family she thought she knew. And then, in an explosive flicker of fate, the power surged back on, illuminating the figures in the room. A hidden trapdoor slid open behind Marcus, revealing a stairwell spiraling into darkness. "We don't have time," he yelled, urgency choking his voice. "They'll find out everything. This is your only chance." Before Zahara could respond, the agents turned toward the opening. "Get down!" one ordered, raising her weapon in alarm. Zahara's world tilted again, the ground beneath her feet crumbling. But at that moment, all she could feel was the shock coursing through her veins. "We either run together or get lost forever." And in that breathless second, Zahara realized the truth they had fought to protect would not define them. It would shatter them. Would they leap into the unknown, hand in hand, or remain shackled in the deceit? Her heart pounded, urging her forward, but against the storm of revelation, she knew this was the moment where everything would change. The choice lay before her, one path leading into the abyss of shadow and betrayal, the other a flicker of hope left glowing faintly in the tempest. Zahara's pulse thundered, time stretching taut like a wire as chaos erupted around them. "We either run together or get lost forever." Marcus's words hung heavy in the air, but the moment felt paradoxically fragile, as if the smallest tremor could shatter the truth. "No," Malik shouted, breathless, fear pooling in his gaze. "We can't trust him. We need to stay and fight." But a glance at his wife revealed that Laura appeared lost, her hands trembling at her sides, torn between the two men she loved. "Zahara, please." Laura's voice broke, close to a whisper. "You need to trust me. This is how we save ourselves." Heart racing, Zahara studied her mother's eyes, searching for the truth buried amid layers of deceit. The room thick with fear, she could practically taste the tension. It clung to her throat, suffocating. Were they truly the family she thought? Or had the weight of secrets irrevocably twisted their bonds? Before she could make a decision, the sound of rapid footsteps thundered outside. A cadre of agents converging toward the open door. "Get down!" Naomi barked, eyes darting frantically as she moved to usher them back behind what remained of the crumbling wall. But Marcus stepped forward, jaw set, a dangerous resolve rippling off him. "They're not just agents. They know about her." He gestured suddenly to Laura, shifting the intensity in the room like a sudden gust of wind. "What are you talking about?" Zahara's voice felt small against the roar of the storm outside, fear coiling tighter around her heart. Yet she held on, unwilling to loosen her grip on sanity. As she squinted into the growing darkness of the hallway, it flickered. Then a sharp, blinding light erupted, cutting through the smoke like a blade. For a heartbeat, everything froze. The agents flinched, eyes wide, and Zahara squinted, horror unfurling within her. From the blinding light emerged a figure cloaked in tactical gear, towering and implacable. Adrenaline surged through Zahara as she barely recognized the voice that spoke next. "Enough of this charade!" The authoritative tone echoed through the room, sending shivers down her spine. "Cynthia?" Laura gasped, disbelief mingling with terror. "Surprise, isn't it?" Cynthia, the same woman who had been their trusted ally, head of corporate espionage, now stood before them, but her demeanor spoke of betrayal, eyes glinting with ambition. "You thought you knew the game? What are you doing here? Malik fumed, stepping protectively in front of Zahara and Laura, his face a tumult of anger and fear. I'm here to put an end to this, Cynthia declared, her tone clipped and cold, laced with authority. And to finally reveal the truth. A deafening silence punctuated her words like a strike of lightning, confusion spreading through the group as they processed her arrival. What truth? Zahara stammered, the weight of dread heavy in her gut. In an explosive move, Cynthia ripped off her helmet, shaking her hair loose, revealing an all-too-familiar face as she turned her gaze on Zahara. I'm your sister. Stunned silence followed. Zahara's world tilted, reality fracturing like fragile glass. What? The word escaped her, barely a whisper, the air around her collapsing beneath the weight of revelation. No. Yes, Cynthia continued, voice unwavering amidst the turmoil. Laura and we've been part of this from the very beginning. Saving our family meant sacrificing the truth. I've infiltrated everything, put myself in danger, all for you. Zahara staggered back, horror flooding her senses. The betrayal clawed at her insides, twisting her heart into knots of disbelief. She felt as if the ground had crumbled beneath her, scattering her thoughts into the winds of confusion. A murmur echoed through the agents, uncertainty rippling like a wave. We need to go. Now, one shouted, urgency igniting the gathering storm. But it barely registered against the shock enveloping Zahara. Tell me this is a lie, she choked, the taste of betrayal bitter on her tongue. The fractures within her family deepened, and everything she thought she knew warped into chaos. What does this mean for us? But before Cynthia could respond, an explosion shook the walls, sending debris flying and panic surging through the crowd. Zahara's vision blurred, a cacophony of screams filling the air, the enormity of betrayal crashing over her like a tidal wave. As the room spun, something inside shifted, and Zahara looked into Cynthia's eyes. Her sister's expression mirrored the uncertainty swirling within her own heart, the isolation of secrets threatening to swallow them whole. Could she trust her? Was family just a word? Or was blood truly thicker than deception? Before she could process her feelings, ... the darkness of the storm around them enveloped. Zahara's mind raced, confusion tightening its grip like a vice. The chaos swirled around her as agents scrambled for positions, weapons raised, eyes darting to the door, hoping to prevent more violence. But her heartbeat thundered louder than any alarm, drowning out the frantic noise. Cynthia's revelation hung in the air like a shroud, thick and suffocating. Surprise, isn't it? Cynthia's voice echoed in Zahara's ears, tainted by the glittering edge of malice. But before she could react, the floor shuddered beneath them, the room vibrating with urgency. The air was electric, amplifying every pulse within Zahara's chest. "Get out of the way!" Malik shouted, eyes wide with fear as he pushed Zahara and Laura toward the back of the room. A gaping hole in the conference room wall loomed larger, revealing uncharted chaos outside. The storm battering the building felt like an echo of their crumbling lives. But then, crack, a new sound obliterated the chaos, loud and shattering, enough to freeze Zahara in place. From the far corner of the room, a figure emerged, draped in shadows, calmly stepping through the haze. It was a woman, cloaked in danger and mystery, her features obscured. But Zahara's breath caught in her throat as a flicker of recognition sparked within her. "I've waited too long for this," the stranger declared, voice cold as the steel that lined the walls. The shift was palpable, as if the air had thickened with uncertainty. "Zahara, come to me." Everything ground to a halt, eyes drawn towards the woman. Zahara squinted through the fog, chilled by a sense of dread, recognition clawing at her. "Who are you?" she managed, the words barely a whisper. The woman stepped into the half-light, revealing a familiar face that shattered Zahara's entire perception of her world. A face she thought had vanished long ago. "It's time we had a conversation, sister." "Sister?" The word echoed painfully, unspooling memories and emotions buried under layers of family secrets. Zahara couldn't think. Am I the missing piece of this puzzle?" The woman's smirk cut through the fray, fiery and confident. "You wished for clarity. Now you have it, Zahara. I've been looking out for you, lurking in the shadows alongside our mother." Her lips formed words Zahara didn't want to hear. "No, it's impossible. I don't have a sister." "Who are you?" "Clara," the woman said, voice smooth as silk, yet sharp as glass. "And you've been living a lie. Mom didn't just leave to protect you. She left because we were caught in something far larger than you can imagine. A legacy woven in deception." A collective intake of breath spread through the room, the agents exchanging terrified glances. Laura's expression shattered, eyes widening as she processed what Clara had just revealed. The family dynamics shifted like a feather caught in a whirlwind. Zahara felt as if she stood on the edge of a cliff, and the ground was crumbling beneath her. "You're lying!" she cried, desperation flaring in her voice. For a heartbeat, hope flared within. Could she be the light in this treacherous fog? Clara leaned closer, her gaze fierce, yet the warmth felt deceptively laced with danger. "Would you believe your mother would hide the truth when her fate was sealed with betrayal? Countless lives sacrificed for a power so unimaginable, it put the fate of an entire industry at stake." Zahara's heart twisted. "What did you say?" she whispered, interest and fear colliding. "Everything you've known is built on a foundation of lies." Clara's voice softened, yet it pulsed with authority. "Your life is a ruse they crafted to protect you. The company, the secrets, it's all intertwined with our bloodline. And they will come for you, Zahara, just as they came for us. They will destroy everything." Suddenly, a heavy thud echoed against the door, followed by a crescendo of voices, urgency flooding the air. "We need to go," a frantic agent yelled. Zahara's heart raced, adrenaline coursing through her. "What do we do?" Clara's eyes narrowed, resolute. "We finish what we started. But first, we must expose the truth before it consumes you." Before Zahara could process the words, the door burst open. Agents surged in, chaos erupting, and Clara's figure seemed to blur within the encroaching storm. Shadows encircled them as she shouted, "Trust me, Zahara!" The ground trembled, reality twisting around her as the truth thundered overhead. A new game was afoot, and Zahara stood at its nexus, her sister's shadow flickering at her side. Would she embrace the legacy that clung to her blood, or would she flee from the darkness wrapping around her heart? As she made her choice, a voice behind her called out, drawing her attention back to the shattering world around them. "Zahara, run!" Malik's desperate plea was swallowed in the chaos, forcing her heart to split with the weight of decisions unmade. As the siren screamed and the world fell apart, Zahara felt the world close in around her. Clara's revelation weighed heavy in the air. They were sisters, bound by blood and secrets. The chaos of agents flooding the room reminded her of a storm, wild, unpredictable, and dangerous. All she wanted now was to save her family. "Go!" Malik shouted again, urgency crashing through the chaos. He pushed Zahara toward the back of the room, his expression fierce. "We have to escape together!" But Zahara hesitated, glancing back at Clara. "What about you?" she asked, fear gripping her heart. Clara's eyes sparked with determination. "I'll hold them off. You have to get out." "No, I can't leave you!" Zahara's voice broke. "Not again. We're family. Trust me!" Clara yelled, her voice slicing through the mayhem. "You need to finish this. Expose them. You have the power to change everything." Zahara swallowed hard, her stomach twisting. Time slowed as she struggled to find her path. The sounds of chaos surged around her, but her mind raced with thoughts of what was at stake. The truth, her family, everything. "Now!" Malik urged, grabbing Zahara's arm. "We can't waste more time." As the agents closed in, Zahara finally nodded. "Okay." She turned back toward Clara, tears threatening to spill. "I promise I won't forget you." Clara's smile was both fierce and sad. "You'll always carry my heart with you. Now go." With one last look, Zahara sprinted down the hallway, Malik at her side. They rushed past the confusion, dodging agents that mirrored their fear. Outside, the rain poured heavily, the world drenched in silver. But Zahara felt lighter with every step, moving toward clarity. They burst through the doors and into the storm, shouts echoing behind them. Zahara felt a surge of adrenaline push her forward, away from the chaos, away from the secrets that had threatened to consume her. "Where do we go?" she gasped, glancing up at Malik, who scanned their surroundings. "Anywhere but here," he replied, determination in his eyes. As they dashed into the nearby alley, Zahara finally felt a spark of hope bloom within her. They would gather the evidence, tell the truth, and expose everything. Together, they would rewrite their story. Days later, in a small coffee shop, Zahara sat across from Malik and Laura, feeling the warmth of family around her once more. They had worked tirelessly to reveal the truth, and with Clara's help, they built a case strong enough to shake the very foundations of Vantage Tech. Laura reached across the table, her eyes filled with emotion. "I'm so proud of you," she said, her voice thick. "You fought for our family." Zahara only smiled, realizing it was just the beginning. She felt whole again, not just as Malik's daughter or Laura's child, but as a warrior ready to face the world. And just like that, she knew they could rise from the ashes of chaos. But a question flickered in the back of her mind. In a world where shadows lingered, who would truly be on her side when the next storm came? In that moment, the door swung open and shadows slipped in. If you want to know what happens next, you must subscribe right now to stay updated on all the exclusive stories coming your way. Smash that like button now to fuel the algorithm and keep the momentum alive. We want to hear your reactions and theories about the ending. So flood the comments section, and please share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know how it all wraps up. This is the moment to show your support. Don't let it slip away.